the professor's got a big board for us.
The biggest, stupidest thing of the week, which is NBA, the big one on PS5 and Xbox and whatever, was released. They released a WNBA version, and Angel Reese is on the cover. Now, I don't know about you guys and how much you play video games, but I actually played this game with the kid last night, and we had to play a game to 11 like you would at
you were playing WNBA video games?
Oh, my God.
We had to play the version to 11 like the rec league game because we didn't have time to start like a season. And playing Angel Reese as the WNBA character, game to 11, it took us 4.5 hours before 11 playing Angel Reese WNBA game. I played the Angel Reese team. I was 9 of 75 on the floor, and that was a good shooting night.
Did they show an actual ball or just a brick on the video game? I would imagine
just as a brick.
Just depicted as a brick. Yeah.
The time.
Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
Our boy, our chief critic and monitor of all programming, Jim Sarni, will be fuming after that one. Fuming after that. He doesn't like the clip at the beginning of the show. What is it with people that don't like that? I kind of do. I mean, it gets you into a little bit of a feeling of what the show's all about here. A little bit of comedy right at the start. Now, I guess when you're able to mouth the words, when we've been playing the same clip for like 6 straight weeks, then it gets a little annoying. But you might want to blow by it. But no, that was classic. And yet, Sarni would point out Angel Reese, 22 and 10 last night. Lubie, 22.
Yeah, she's actually been on a heater the last 2-3 weeks. Her scoring is grossly up. Her percentage still sucks, but she's scoring a lot more points.
Imagine this, though. I mean, you talk about progress. I had a great interview with Christine Brennan. She's fantastic. Christine Brennan on Conversations a couple of weeks ago on Bleacher Brothers, and she was brilliant, as always, talking about Caitlin Clark. She has a new book out about Caitlin Clark. She pulled a Feinstein kind of, Lubie, and I don't know that she was exclusively following Caitlin Clark around for a year, but essentially she spent a year kind of hanging out and mostly researching things about Caitlin Clark. And Caitlin Clark, she credits her, like almost anybody would, with being responsible for whatever rise in awareness there's been about first. I don't know that she put women's college basketball on the map. That was kind of already there. But the WNBA certainly was a distant afterthought in the minds of virtually every sports fan, with rare exception. People talked about it coming on in terms of popularity. I didn't see it. I don't know. Did you, Lubie? I mean, it's not that we're sexist and as I've been saying my entire life, I couldn't be happier that women are playing basketball and getting involved in the game, because I thought when I was growing up that was something that they were sorely missing in terms of being able to become more sociable animals, right? It was great interacting with the guys. You get out there, you knew what you were doing every day. And you would learn a lot of life's valuable lessons through playing sports and competing in sports. You learn how to lose, you learn how to win, you learn how to respect other people, you learn how to compete, a lot of different things. You learn the symmetry of teamwork and how just absolutely amazing that can be when you're in sync with other people and what they're doing. It was like being in a band. It was fantastic. I thought women were missing a lot of that. In fact, same thing was true. I mean, you didn't see a lot of girl bands back then when I was growing up. Mm-hmm. What did women do? Jesus, just sit around and... What were they playing? No, they weren't playing with dolls. I don't know what the hell did the women do in my neighborhood. I'm thinking we didn't really. I don't know. Was it just a majority? Did everybody only have sons when I was growing up in Brooklyn? I don't even know. Certainly, we were interested in girls, but and you'd see them at school, but they just didn't have the ability to bond like we did as boys. And I couldn't be happier that this is going on. But at the same time, the fact that I even know that Angel Reese had 22 and 10 last night, I guess, is a tribute to the idea that there's a little more awareness, or at least more publicity. They're putting it out there, what's going on. Yes. WNBA. I don't know to what level I care about it. Where are you at with that, Lubie? You still at the same very distant, different place, or how do you feel about it?
I pay less attention than you do.
I'll watch some. I don't know that I'm riveted to it. I usually find that I come to the same conclusion. Well, what is this? It's kind of like NBA Summer League, where I tried to get into it, and then I thought I should just literally go grab a ball and go down to LA Fitness and shoot a couple of buckets with Andy.
Honestly, I tried to watch last night, and the Heat, I guess, had a good game. I was a struggle. I just wanted to see the young kid, and he didn't play for whatever reason. Hakachonis didn't play at all, so I was like, look, Pella Larson. I'm glad Ware played better, and the Johnson kid, like, I don't think Larson and Johnson are going to do anything on the NBA roster.
No, Larson doesn't. I watched him 2 games back. I didn't know they were playing last night. It didn't impress me at all.
He's fine, but he's not going to be an NBA player. And Ware is
Ware was big. He got your message.
Ware is playing better, so that's cool. But it just looks stupid because he's playing against guys that like 90 to 95% won't sniff like the NBA. Most of them won't even be in the G League. So it's like it just gets hard to watch. It feels like you're watching a pickup game. So it's like I'd rather just go play a pickup game than watch this.
I mean, he'd be better off playing one-on-one with Hassan Whiteside, right?
Exactly.
If he was going to try and get ready for the season. Possibly. I mean, look, you were saying that Spoelstra was giving him the business, the old Ben Dry thing. And he wanted him to pick up his game. So at least statistically, I have no idea how he accomplished this, but it looked like he had a pretty impactful game there. What was it, like 25 and 15? Something along those lines. Not bad. But, very difficult to get, riveted to NBA Summer League. And I'm sort of at the same point. What would you put one over the other in terms of priorities in your basketball viewing desires? NBA Summer League or WNBA regular season?
Sarni's gonna not like me, but I mean, still Summer League. It's horrendous, but it allows me to at least hopefully get a purview of some of the guys that may be there. Not even just the Heat, but I'll watch some of the other games.
Yeah,
it's hard for me to get into the WNBA. And again, I'm a guy that in the early days watched, like when the Comets first got on the scene and won like the first like 3 or something like that with Swoops, and they had a loaded roster. Like I watched the early days of the WNBA. I thought it was interesting, and then I just fell away from it. And it may be better basketball now than it was in the mid '90s with Rebecca Lobo and whatever. But it's just hard for me to get into it. It just is.
Yeah. I couldn't tell you much about it except that Caitlin Clark was carrying the league, and she was injured for a few games with a groin injury, and the viewership dropped off by 50%. Anyway, if you want to learn about Caitlin Clark and the whole thing, very interesting. Check out Conversations. Bleacher Brothers, Christine Brennan and Ann Liguori joined us later in the program. That was actually kind of a lot of fun. You talk about a ladies' day on a show. All right, All-Star Game is tonight. The Home Run Derby was last night. I will say this, Lubie. With the exception of the performance by Jazz Chisholm, which I missed almost all of it, which I think was a good thing because who wants to see somebody go up there and just fall flat on their face? He had 3 home runs in the first round. Everybody else was at least in the teens. And I think that they put on a pretty good show, actually, considering that we were blasting it like a lot of people were, saying, oh, well, none of the big names are in there. What good is this? And I thought it was pretty entertaining overall. And I would say I didn't see most of it. I probably saw about 50% of it. Did you watch this thing? And they staged a pretty good show. 21 homers in a round. I think that's reasonable. What did Josh Hamilton have? Did he have like 40? He hit 30 something. And they've changed the structure of it, so I don't even know if it's comparable. I mean, can you compare what happened back then with what was going on last night?
Because he had high teens or low 20s, but it was different. It wasn't the same system when he did it. Yeah, I didn't watch. I totally sort of forgot it was on, and then I was like, "Am I going to start trying to find this right now?" I just watched stuff with Shirley. Like I wanted to get into it, and I'm glad. Like the guy who won, the guy everyone's talking about, so maybe that added attention to it. I didn't realize he's a Knoll.
Who's that, Raleigh?
Yeah, Raleigh's supposedly a Knoll. I mean,
I like seeing the power hitting catcher kind of reemerging too. I mean, for too long we've been watching. Maybe that's because we've been watching Marlins baseball, and since they had Real Muto, they've had guys. What's this Fortes? It's like 205 every year. They've had a couple of. Well, now you got Augustine Ramirez. They're trying to. Is he an actual catcher, or did they just try to make him into a catcher? Because he is catching for him.
Yeah, I knew they made him into a catcher.
I like the old power hitting catcher. It's kind of nice, right? Cal Raleigh, I mean, a phenomenal season. What does he have? 38 home runs already? And we're just past the midway point in terms of number of games. That equates out to a pretty good number. What was Bond's final record for single season home runs? Do we even know?
73.
So was it 73 or was it higher?
No,
73 is the all time record now?
and McGuire hit 70.
Yeah.
And McGuire got to the 66, and then I think he finished up at 70, and Bonds at 73.
73.
I always forget his final number.
This guy doing? I mean, should we check him for juice? What do you?
I mean, he's on pace. I think he's blowing the pace. Like he's
ahead of the pace of Barry Bonds in his record-breaking season.
I think he is. I'm not sure. I know, like the other sports, when you get to the All-Star break, there's only like a week left in the season. But baseball, there's still a good amount of time.
So at the midway point, right? I mean, a little past. Would you say?
Yeah, it's not the midway, but it's definitely not like there's still a good chunk of the season left. I don't know if he's like blistering, but again, he only needs 25. I mean, that I would think he needs way less than what
he would need 30 something more home runs, 36 home runs to break the record.
Yeah,
right?
36. I don't know.
To break it.
I mean, look, I'm sure he'll get gas because a lot of the time you see these guys going to run early and then whatever, but he's definitely at least near the pace.
He was coming on though. I mean, he was hitting multiple home runs. I think just a couple of days before the All-Star break, he had a couple of games where he knocked 2 home runs out of the park. Looked great. I mean, last night, what a stroke he had going. I love when these guys get in a rhythm and every ball's going out of the park. That has to be a lot of fun to be able to do that. And you're imagining you're in the batting cage. Were you a batting cage guy, Lubie, where you get in there and you start crushing the ball? And now, even guys in the other stalls there are looking over and going, well, look at that guy, man. Jesus, he can hit. And then you step it up, and then finally you get in a 90-mile-an-hour pitching cage. Did you ever venture in there, Lubie? Because the thing that sucks about it, I don't know, it's kind of expensive, isn't it? Batting cages these days compared to what they used to be. It used to be like you put a quarter in a machine, it would go for half an hour. And then you got kind of a limited number of pitches. And the thing about as you escalate the speed, the pitches get worse and worse. I don't know that the balls are even round in the 90-mile-per-hour machine. Remember, like the first 5, you would have to duck out of the way. They practically, I mean, you're getting hit by a pitch in a batting cage. It's kind of crazy. And then the rest of them would come in on the ground, 2 feet off the ground. And you'd end up in futility because that's right around the breaking point, isn't it, Lubie? But you start out in a 60-mile-an-hour machine. You may as well be in the slow-pitch softball machine. Yeah, that's a joke. But maybe you just want to see, okay, I don't want to embarrass myself. 70 would be like, batting practice type of speed. 80 starts to get a little trickier, but once you get in a groove there, you're okay. And then 90 was just, you didn't know where the ball was going. It may as well have been a knuckler thrown at that speed. I don't know. It'd be a lot of fun. They did get into some good rhythms in that. And then what do you make? I mean, is it worth harpooning Jazz Chisholm for his performance? What was he doing in there in the first place?
Well, that's the thing is we questioned him being there. So it's interesting that he lived up or lived down to our expectations.
That was seriously down, though. You figure a guy could pop 10 out, no?
No, yeah. I mean, he supposedly has power. That's why he was there.
But he's never a monster home run hitter. I mean, what's Jazz Chisholm's highest total of home runs in a season? You'd have to find a season where he played the whole season. But
that's the thing. Yep.
I'm thinking, what? I mean, low 20s? What would that be his best total in his career? And then, the thing is, you're looking and you're seeing Aaron Judge is not consoling. They're kind of kibitzing around there, kibitzing around after, he's laughing. He's got a smile on his face, but it had to be. I don't know. Does a guy like that get embarrassed when something like that happens, Lubie? What do you think? 3 home runs.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, now Chisholm's the kind of guy that has a lot of confidence, so he probably won't.
And he says he has 17 already for the Yankees. I know he's been hitting more home runs for the Yankee than he did.
This year's his most. He's hit the most in the season was last year, again, with the Yankees at 24. I think 23, he was with the Marlins. He had 19, 14, 18. Those are his totals. So he's never had more than 25 home runs in a season, and you had him in the home run derby. I mean,
left-handed hitter with the Marlins is up against it, though. I mean, playing at the home park.
Yeah, for sure.
it seems like it's almost impossible to hit one out to right field. And you do see some shots rattling around the Budweiser bar area there in the stands. A lot easier to hit home runs as a right-hander there than it is as a lefty. Cavernous center field. No, not the most favorable ballpark for a left-handed hitter to be a power hitter. Marlins Park, or Lone Shark Park, as it's known. But yeah, that was embarrassing. But that was really the only weak moment I thought of the whole thing. It was very competitive, right? You didn't know who was going to get out of the first round. Olsen was the last guy to get up there, and he had a shot and was making a little bit of a run late. And you thought, all right, he might get there and create a three-way tie. How the hell do they measure the distance that baseballs were supposedly going to travel? And that's how they broke the tie. Otherwise, Raleigh could have been eliminated in the opening round. He went on to win the thing, but he was tied at 17 with a guy named Rooker, who I believe is a Minnesota Twin. And they both had 17 home runs, and that was the tied for the fourth highest total. Okay, so the tiebreakers, they went into like NFL tiebreaker type of situations. And one of which, and I think this might have been the first tiebreaker, was who had the longest home run of the 17.
That's interesting.
All right, so the one guy's was like 400 and whatever. So let's say it was 60 feet. I think it was that long. 460 feet and 0.65. And the other was 460 feet and 0.5 something.
Oh, Jesus. So it wasn't really that much longer?
Like a tenth of an inch.
Oh,
Maybe an inch. I guess, this was, feet. If it's, I don't know, it was like 0.1 versus 0.2. I'm not sure the exact decimal point total there, but you get the idea. They were less than a fraction apart and probably less than an inch apart. But how could you say with precision that was an accurate measurement, Libby?
No, you don't know.
By what barometer are they using to measure this that could actually get it down to that finite of a result? That seemed a little unfair, didn't it, Libby? I mean, I understand, the people were complaining about the electronic line calls at Wimbledon, that some of them were inaccurate, but we did see some examples of it where ball's 2 feet out and they're calling in.
Oh, wow. Really? I didn't even realize that, because the Hawkeye was always good. So I don't know. I know they've gone to even more electronic, but I didn't realize there were questions about it.
There were some questions, Luby. They would show a replay. It was funny. There was one, I think it was Belinda Bencic was in a match, and ball lands clearly at least, a half a foot out. All right. She doesn't play it, doesn't get it back, and the chair umpire doesn't overrule it either, as it was called in. They show a video replay, which you would think would be the next litmus test, that they would show the chair umpire a video replay if they have one. And sure enough, they did, and you can clearly see the ball's a mile out. And they let that call stand. Now, Bencic went on to win that game anyway, so it didn't impact her in the ultimate outcome, but it certainly was, you're looking going, that's atrocious. If a ball like that could be called in, then how many that are just, centimeters out or in one way or the other, how many were judged wrongly? But how accurate can that be, Libby? Are we to assume that is actually a correct measurement of distance, that they got it down to the point where as a ball's rattling around in the stands, it ultimately gets stopped by the seats or somebody making a play on it in the stands? How can you determine that thing is like a half inch different than the other one? That was kind of crazy. So
it's very close to just give the guy the nod, but I'm sure they wanted Raleigh moving forward, so they would do anything they could.
You think it was rigged? Wow, nice.
I don't think it was rigged. He probably did hit the longest one, but like if it's in inches from a home run measurement, that's very specific. I don't remember them ever doing that before. So
I didn't know they broke it down to that finite of a number, fractions of an inch. That separated them. Anyway, I thought it was entertaining, and the final was good. The guy that finished second had a shot there, and he was starting to come on at the end. Raleigh had a phenomenal round, hitting 18 home runs in the last 2-minute segment that he had for the championship round, and seemed to be a deserving winner. I believe our man Stu Feiner had put out the second place finisher at 12-1. And he Caminero, right? That was second. The guy, Tampa Bay Rays guy, Caminero. And boy, he came close to. He provided some drama there, a little bit of a spark at the end. So I thought it was entertaining, actually. From what I saw, I didn't watch it all. Like I said, I couldn't take 3 straight hours of it, but what I saw was entertaining. I thought they did a good job and kind of made up for the fact that they didn't have the big stars competing in the home run derby. All-Star game is tonight. What do you think, Lubie? National League, is this right? I saw 2 different numbers on this, but when I was trying to track it year by year, the American League has won 10 out of the last 11 All-Star games.
Probably
only losing 2 years ago.
They seem to always win. I'm like the fact that the National League won in the last 20 years is a positive, I guess.
One game. I mean, out of the last 11, and they won 2 years ago, 3-2, and then they had lost 9 previous ones, won a game, and then lost again last year. I'm looking up the all-time greatest All-Star lineups. I figured that might be worth.
I mean, you go to the 50s and 60s,
all-time greatest.
In the 70s, it was like all Hall of Famers. I mean, even in the 90s.
Well, the one that was offered up, I mean, this would be strictly a matter of opinion here, but the one that was offered up here that caught my eye, 1966 National League lineup. Although you could say as they got towards the bottom there, maybe there were others that might eclipse this. Leading off, Willie Mays. Batting second, Roberto Clemente. Hitting third, Hank Aaron. Batting fourth in the cleanup spot, the great Willie McCovey. Ron Santo, Mr. Cub, hitting fifth. Joe Torre, who had some phenomenal years with the stick. No, he had some big
I know
years.
he was actually a good catcher.
Joe Torre, what was hitting seventh, hitting eighth, Jim Lefevre. Oh, no, I guess Lefevre was hitting seventh because the pitcher still batted in 66. And Leo Chico Cardenas, the shortstop. Okay, so maybe did that one fade out a little bit there towards the bottom of the lineup? Torre, Lefevre, and Cardenas, not exactly lighting it up for you there, Lubie, but wow, how about the top of the order? They're pretty good. They go all the way back to 1934 for one of them, and I have to read this one because it includes the name of one of my all-time favorite baseball players in terms of names. Charlie Gehringer, what was the leadoff hitter, and batting second was the great Jaime Manush. Jaime Manush, my all-time favorite.
You're the best.
Babe hit third, Garrick fourth, Jimmy Fox XX hit fifth, Al Simmons sixth, Joe Cronin seventh, and Bill Dickey, the catcher, was batting eighth, Lubie, on that 1934 team. But those were a couple that were offered up. There had to be some good ones. Do you remember any particular lineup? I mean, it's hard to.
In the 90s, I know that especially between pitchers, and then you're talking about lineups. It got pretty insane with Frank Thomas and Ken Griffey Jr. and I don't remember the actual lineups, but I know in the 90s you would get ridiculous teams where everyone was like an eventual Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
I mean, pitching staffs were ridiculous.
It was always good too to see pitchers handle these guys. A couple of records, All-Star Game records. I was perusing over, and there's some bets that you can make. I like this. Fernando Valenzuela is one of 2 guys to have struck out 5 consecutive hitters in an All-Star game. The other is Carl Hubble. Stan the Man has 6 home runs, All-Star record for all-time home runs in an All-Star game. Stan the Man Musial has 6. Goose Gossage finished 5 All-Star games, and eclipsing Mariano Rivera, who finished 4 All-Star games as the guy that was on the mound at the end of the ball game. I don't know if that included getting saves, but you would assume that was the case. Goose 5 times, Rivera 4 times on the hill. Jim Palmer got lit up the most, 3 home runs. It's the All-Star game record for pitchers giving up home runs. I think that might have been a single game record for an All-Star game. Imagine that. They whacked 3 home runs off of Jim Palmer. Kind of incredible.
Yes.
Ichiro had the only inside-the-park home run in All-Star history, and this is hard to believe. Is it possible there's only been 1 Grand Slam in All-Star game history? 1 Grand Slam. All these All-Star games.
Yeah, that's weird.
It was Fred Lynn hit a Grand Slam in the All-Star game, and that stands as the record for most Grand Slams in an All-Star game at 1.
That's crazy.
So, and nobody else was listed. So I'm assuming that he was the only guy ever to hit a home run, a Grand Slam home run in All-Star history. It seems unfathomable, doesn't it, Lubie? Incomprehensible. That
all people. I mean,
well, Lynn was good, but
he hit homers, but he wasn't. Like,
wouldn't you figure there'd be a few? No, I mean All-Star game history.
Well,
anyway, Just
these
one.
guys getting on base and being able to rock it. Yes, you would think there'd be a lot more than one. And Fred Lynn, of all people's something, he was good and he could hit it out of the park, but he wasn't known as like a power guy.
All right, so what kind of stuff are you going to be betting on? Would you bet that Ohtani gets a hit in the game? If you bet over, well, either way, you're getting even money on this thing, I guess. You might have to lay a price if he gets doesn't get a hit. Ohtani over half a hit is even money. So he has to get one hit. How many at bats? You're going to leave Ohtani in there for what? 3 at bats?
You get at least 2. I mean, he may get that third at bat.
How do you lift him out of the game? Unless the Dodgers have said, "Hey, listen."
Well, you don't want guys playing more than 3. I mean, again, you have a lot of guys who want to get in there, and you want to give everyone a shot.
Yeah.
Especially now, it's even more and more of an exhibition than it has ever been. Like, it's rare that guys play more than 2 innings nowadays. I feel like. I mean, I know isn't he starting? Is he starting? If he's starting as pitcher, they're not going to keep him in there as pitcher long at all.
No,
he won't do more.
Oh no, he's 1 inning at best.
So once you take him out as a pitcher, then he has to be out as a batter, right? Like I don't think
he could move to a hitting position.
I guess you could.
He's leading off. Yeah,
that's the thing is like you then want to get other guys in, right? It's the All-Star game. So I don't know.
So that's a go. You made a nice case for the under on that.
He may get 2 at bats, but I don't think he's getting 3 or 4.
All right. Here's a good one. If you're the kind of person that wants to bet on the length of the anthem or the coin flip, Paul Skeens, his first pitch, will it be 99 miles an hour or better? Plus 240.
Probably.
Fire one up there at 100 to start the ball game, Lubie? And
you should. You probably go off speed to sort of throw him off. But
you're essentially getting 5-2 on that, plus 240. Paul Skeens, 99 plus on the first pitch.
So Skeens is the starting pitcher?
Oh, I guess his first pitch, yeah. Because
I think it's Ohtani.
Oh, yeah, Skeens was named as a starter.
Okay. But then that may work better for your Ohtani thing. He may stay in a little bit longer.
He gets at least 2 at bats there. There's no doubt they're going to put him.
They're saying Ohtani is a DH. If Ohtani is a DH, then he may get 3. They may keep him in there for a little bit and let him because he's the guy that everyone wants to see.
People want to see. Yeah,
he's the guy everyone wants to see.
They want to see Aaron Judge.
Yeah, that's really it. I mean, there's other guys that I locally find, but like on a national scale, they're really sort of it.
How sick is this? Do we have to bet this stupidity to make the game interesting? What do you think?
Oh, yeah, to make it interesting.
You're on the edge of your seat there. You're sitting with a bunch of guys in a bar, and you can't wait to see Skeens uncork that first pitch because you got plus 99 miles. And the Jugs gun probably is about as accurate as whatever this measurement device they use to measure the distance of home runs, which they're claiming is accurate within a half an inch. Unbelievable. Yeah, all right, we're going to be joined here by Dave Hyde. We'll get into some stuff with Dave Hyde. That's coming up. Any other interesting stuff? There really wasn't a whole lot going on last night. Teddy Bridgewater suspended by Miami North.
I did want to get into that a little because I do find it utterly weird.
Well, what's the scoop on it? I mean, extra benefits to players.
Well, the people who don't pay attention to it, the state of Florida has sort of, it's always been a conversation between the state of Texas, California, Florida. Over the last few years, Florida sort of pulled away where it not only has the most talent in the country, but I don't know if it's by a wide margin because you've had Georgia rise up, but the state of Florida is definitively the most talented state in the country. The problem is at the high school level, it's a cesspool. The state of Florida does not pay their coaches and the facilities suck ass. And the problem is not only in California or Texas, but you go to states like Georgia, you go to some of these quote unquote SEC states, like they pour so much money into the high school level. Like they pay, like coaches leave other states to go coach in Georgia because they pay really well and their facilities are nuts. We already knew Texas did that for years.
Yeah.
I don't know how California, I feel like, is more like Florida where they're idiots and they don't really have the facilities maybe. But Georgia is put tons of money into facilities. And a lot of Ohio, a lot of these different states really pour a lot of money into high school facilities and high school coaches. Florida doesn't. Florida's either middle of the pack or near the bottom in what they pay. Like the pay for high school coaches is a joke and the facilities are actually worse. So it's become an actual issue of trying to retain top coaches because you have all this talent that, yes, in some cases migrate to play in Florida or already in Florida and migrate different areas of Florida to play for certain programs.
When St. Thomas had that kicker from Cambodia and he was the backup,
St. Thomas started it, but there's a lot of schools now, and even schools that aren't private schools, like the Northwesterns and the Shaman. Like a lot of these schools that aren't private, and I think Shaman may be private, but a lot of schools that aren't private also still find a way to have kids there that aren't from there. That still happens, and you still have some top coaches, but a lot of the top talent left. So Teddy Bridgewater, Mr. NFL, went back to his home program, Northwestern, who had actually fallen down a little bit, and they went and won the freaking state title in either year 1 or year 2.
Yeah.
But their facilities suck, and it's a public school in really urban Miami, so like there's not a lot of money. So he was helping kids with Ubers, helping kids with lunch, helping kids out in this world of NIL. And I guess I never heard of it being an issue on the high school level. If coaches help out kids in the high school level, I thought that was normal. Everyone thought it was a great story because they came from falling on hard times. The guy comes back and they go and win the state title. And it had illuminated how much of an issue it was in the state of Florida to pay good coaches. And it ended up, I guess, red flagging. And of course, the state of Florida got pissed, so they hammered him, and now he's suspended for being a good guy looking out for his kids.
Seems like a shame, yeah. Look, rules are rules, whatever. I mean, if everybody's supposed to abide by them, and one guy is blatantly just blowing right through the parameters and the guidelines, I suppose that there needs to be some kind of administrative action taken, but Bridgewater's always been a good story. I always liked Teddy Bridgewater. I mean, when we were doing that high school game in a week, we had a couple of his games. Were you on the call on any of those games, Lubie?
I think
high school game in a week. That might have been prior to us connecting.
I never did. We did Fort Lauderdale games. I never did any Miami games.
Yeah, Bridgewater. Remember Eric the Red Lingell talking about Teddy Bridgewater, and we did a couple of games that he was involved in, and then went on to look like he was going to be, a very prominent NFL quarterback. Injuries kind of set him back quite a bit. He hung around for a long time. I was briefly a Dolphin, came back, and you always love this when the guy wants to coach high school. I forgot.
Yes,
right?
Yeah. He didn't have to. He made a lot of money.
He made a lot of money. This guy, he made some big contract, scores and fulfilled them. So it wasn't like he got some wild contract you saw on a paper and then got cut after 1 year. So, unfortunate. I mean, I don't know. It didn't sound like he was doing anything particularly outrageous. It wasn't like he was recruiting kids and paying them tons of money to come to the school there. But
no, he was just taking care of his own kids.
Yeah, very unfortunate that took place because it kind of taints his reputation a little bit. And seemed to me like it was a good thing that he was on the high school level, a guy of that caliber. And that supposedly a really good character as well. All right, we're coming back with Dave Hyde in a moment here on the Defo Show. That's Mike Lubie. I'm Jeff DeForest. Thank you guys for tuning in as always. We will return in a moment with the great Dave Hyde of the Sun Sentinel in a moment. Now that. It's 8:37. Play the ponies in style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in Plantation, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar, and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Are you looking to buy your first home? Have you been turned down for a loan? Do you need to refinance or get money out of your home? Call Michael Kodsey, CEO of Choice Mortgage. He's been helping the South Florida community get mortgages for 30 years.
Hi, this is Michael Kodsey, CEO of Choice Mortgage. We have the most competitive fixed rates in the market. Call me 24/7, 561-441-2730. And remember, I don't just work banking hours. To make the right choice for your home, call Choice Mortgage today.
world, I mean, if my point was ever going to be embellished and going to be proven true, the world has gotten a sugar daddy.
Grab a bagel and a schmear, plus some Defo and Lubie. Welcome back to the Defo Show.
All right, welcome back to the show. Who better to brighten up the dog days of summer than among our favorite guests of all time? Always been very generous with his time here and his appearances on the show. Distinguished writer and columnist for the Sun Sentinel, and always very, very insightful about virtually everything that's going on, not just on the local scene, but around the country and the world as well. We welcome to the program the great Dave Hyde. David, how are you, my friend?
Well, don't expect much insight today, okay? I'm coming off vacation where I paid no attention to what's happening in the sports world, so you're not going to get your money's worth today.
It's a good time. I mean,
you're not spending any money, so you will get.
All right, so we know what the details of the backup point guard for the Heat's NBA Summer League team. And ask you to characterize what impact he might have on their G League club and whether or not he can move them forward. All right. I mean, these are the dog days. Are you among those? I remember when there was really nothing going on here, and you could say that, although the Marlins have kind of turned, I don't know that they've turned the opinion about the team around completely, but at least they've been more representative than you would have expected. But are you one of those guys that's in a countdown to Dolphins training camp? Has already started. He's got one of those ESPN countdowns that were like 832 hours away. But what's your feeling about this period of time here in terms of the local sports landscape?
My feeling is it's a very difficult week to step into and have to write 4 columns. That's
Oh, Jesus.
So, yes, I'm counting down the Dolphin training camp.
Oh, my God.
There are things. I was just looking. Look, the Teddy Bridgewater story today is ridiculous. He gets suspended by the High School Association for feeding his players and giving them rides home. And I mean, talk about inverted morality. But that's not the bigger. The Marlins, of course. Look, they're a fun story, right? I didn't expect them to be what's the word, respectable.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we've been here before with them. I'll say that, and it shows what right attitude and enthusiasm and all that can do. It doesn't mean that they're going to contend for anything, but it gives some possibility that they're on the right track, right? I mean, they're finding a few players that look like, okay, maybe they got something here, which is really what you want to see this year.
Yeah, we had labeled Bendix nothing more than a bat boy from the Tampa Bay Rays organization. Seemed like we got the wrong guy, and thought these players, as much as you respect young guys trying to make it, it's not their fault they were in a lousy organization, and maybe that provided them with the opportunity to get to the big leagues quicker. But essentially a bunch of bag ladies, and wow, they've proven us to be absolutely dead wrong, at least for now. Although it is interesting, and your man Jim Sarney pointed out they have like the 4th most difficult schedule remaining. And I'm surprised. I look at these projections for a projected number of wins, and they're still in the low 70s. So not necessarily gathering the same amount of respect around Major League Baseball circles as they might be here from the fans who were shocked that they're only 7 games under 500.
Yeah, well, what do they say in baseball? 162 games tells you the full truth. And look, a young team, a lot of these guys are defining who they are as players, and certainly you get into late July, August, September, who knows? But in the bigger picture, it looks like they have a few players, and that's what you're hoping. And maybe Bendix, certainly Derek Jeter won the answer. He was a disaster. Hopefully they become relevant again. I think because especially help a poor columnist out on a week like this.
Well, it feels like, Dave, that at least, and look, we've, again, like Defo said, we've been hard on Bendix as much as anyone, because it felt like Aang had sort of turned a corner, and their issue with her is, I guess, what we're seeing now, where you're seeing young on the field guys, hitters showing promise, which, going back to buying fast, whoever's been at the helm, that's sort of been there, is that's sort of been their issue is they struggle they started to find guys that could pitch, but after making those trades, getting rid of Stanton, getting rid of all these guys like Blade, Burdick, all these guys that they had drafted that were supposed to be the next thing just failed time and time and time again. This time, at least you're seeing Stowers, you're seeing Ramirez, you're seeing young guys that can sort of hit, and they also have pitchers. For as much as we gave Menix crap, what supposedly was their issue, it seems like, I'm not going to use words like fix, but they seem to be on the track that they wanted with Jeter, to have young pitchers and hitters at the same time that you can bring up, like what the Astros did, like what the Dodgers did, like what the Cubs did. Again, my reservations, like what you said with the Panthers, and they've proven that, okay, we can believe in them. But 3 years ago, when they started to win, it was like, yeah, that's fine, but you've been bad for 20 years. The Marlins winning this way for the first time ever for like a month isn't going to change what we've seen over the last, since 1997.
Yeah, look, the way to do it is, the model is obviously Tampa Bay's model, and draft well and turn over year after year, bring up young people, develop in your system, and Jeter, for all his talk, 5 years that we're going to build through the draft, you never got guys coming up through the draft.
Nope.
And so that will be the telling point for this regime. I mean, they made some nice trades where you see, okay, there's a guy and there's another guy. But ultimately, it'll be once their drafted players start coming up, who are they? And they just went through draft. They drafted all college players.
Yep.
I think which was kind of interesting. And it wasn't. They said it wasn't that wasn't the idea. It just, that's how the draft fell. But the idea being that they're college players, meaning they're older, meaning you'll see them quicker to come up here, and that will be the telling point. Obviously, just like it is in Tampa Bay, where they just got like a conveyor belt of talent coming up. It seems like can the Marlins get some of that idea going? Because as we've seen, they're not going to spend money, and the commissioner of baseball is now saying that we're going for the salary cap, and that will be a fight after next season. And but that's what the Marlins are banking on too. They want a salary cap and a salary floor where it'll level the field some for them. But from what I hear, they're not going to be spending any money until that decision is decided.
Oh God.
You think there was any champagne being popped open in Bruce Sherman's home last night when he saw the Tampa Bay Rays, who I know there was talk of some kind of referendum for a new stadium. They don't even have a stadium now. They're playing at the Yankees spring training facility while they get this Blunderdome repaired, unfortunately damaged in a storm. But nonetheless, it was an horrendous stadium to begin with. But the Rays are sold for $1.7 billion, which it's a pretty good number for a franchise that, even though they've had success on the field, was in complete disarray when it came to attendance and seemed like level of interest in income streams. What kind of moment is that? Does it bear any indication as to, the Marlins maybe being on more solid ground than people would anticipate?
It's the same omen as every sport through time, which is for the owners. The way they make money isn't year to year; it's hold on to the team, and eventually they'll look at our flagship franchise, the Dolphins. Joe Robbie sold it to Wayne Huizinga and the stadium for $1.1 billion. Wait a second, I think that's right. And then it's grown 10 times from that, and so the money involved, and now you got betting, you got live streaming, with all the stations wanting to get live sports. So the money is coming in from a lot of new channels now for the owners, and 1.7 billion for the Tampa Bay, and as you said, they don't even have a stadium.
No,
that's crazy. That's crazy. So, and the Marlins went for what, 1.2, I believe,
Yeah.
when
Sherman.
this regime, the Sherman/Jeter regime, bought it. So, and they have a stadium. So, you know, I have no idea what they're worth, but I guess it'd be more than 1.7 at this point.
You would have to think, yeah, we're in better shape than the Rays, except for performance. So the Rays have been remarkable. All right, we had one of your former contemporaries there at the Sun Sentinel, and of course now is still very much entrenched in the streaming world, the great Ethan Scoop Skolnick on, and he was not overwhelmingly optimistic, Dave Hyde, about the prospects for your Miami Dolphins this year. I don't know where you stand with them, and I mean, we've been talking about him as being in a state of disarray for some time. We're not sure what to make of the coach. Lubie hates Chris Greer and is usually, taking pot shots at the guy as soon as he wakes up and gets on a show. Where do you stand with him? I mean, do the fans have something to look forward to this year, or is it going to be yet another disappointing mess?
I think it'll be another mediocre mess. Another eight. What's
8 and 9? Wow, that's
8.5, don't they?
Yeah.
That sounds right. 8.5 wins is like for the last 25 years.
Yep.
If you just said 8.5 wins, you would be right around the money every time. So,
yeah.
And I mean, I'm the same as everybody. I'm looking for a contrarian opinion to say, and it's almost like in the 4th year of this Mike McDaniel's era and 7th year of Chris Greer running the full team and 10th year of him being general manager. It's like, oh, we got to do some things differently now. We actually have to care about culture. Well, that'd be it. We have to think about the running game. Maybe we need an interior. It's hilarious. We all in the media want people to listen to us, but anybody who listens to it, that's just real idiot, So, there's this country. But last year, everybody in the media was right that how are the Dolphins going to win with this awful interior offensive line? And I wrote, they need to go out and get a backup quarterback. Yes. In August, I was writing the column, and those two things sunk the season. Mm-hmm. And now they go into. I'm about to write the column. How can they go into a season with no cornerbacks? Not a one or a two. I've never seen an NFL team try this. It's a great experiment. It's great.
It's good,
We're going to reinvent how football is played. But my God, the pressure. Anthony Weaver, the defensive corps, must be sitting there thinking, what am I going to do here?
You're going to have to be Earl Weaver to come up with something.
Exactly.
I think. Yeah. That is wild. See, you're already inspired. Just coming on the show here. You've got at least 3 columns worked up already.
Yeah, perfect. And I can just sit in my house and write them. That's the modern journalism at its finest.
Well, it's just interesting, and I do want to move on to the Heat because they've been up, down, but at least more recently seem to be up. I don't know by their most recent move, but the Dolphins are just interesting to me because it's like the issues they've always had, they still had this offseason. And I know they tried to address the offensive line a little bit this offseason, and Ramsey wasn't happy, so at least they got another Pro Bowl caliber player that is younger and has a more affordable deal in Fitzpatrick. So I guess it's not the worst move, but a lot of the same holes they had going into last season, they still have going into this season. So it's like, and they were mediocre last year. So it's okay. So we're just throwing away years. And I get it. It happens at times, but it usually happens at the beginning of a regime. It doesn't happen when you've been there for 4 years and you're Mike McDaniel, and you've been there for over 10 years, because Greer, the line of demarcation for when he became the GM is what people do it with, but supposedly was highly involved in the organization for a long time before that. So it's just weird that now they're like, oh, we need to do these things. Like, what have you been doing, guys? We have the fan that knows nothing has been yelling about this for years, let alone the sports talk host or the sports writer. Like, what are you doing? And now McDaniel's going to be tougher. It's like, dude, you've already laid down who you are. Like, the players know who you are. You trying to be tougher now is even more disingenuous than being the nice guy. Like, It's just so much for an organization that was once so great, that's been mediocre for so long now. Like this cycle of just being I don't know how you get out of it, because as much as we actually don't slam Ross, because at least he's willing to spend money and he actually doesn't get in the way, like his hiring of executives is so abysmal.
It's like the Trump cabinet, doesn't it?
Like no, but it is. His hiring of executives is so bad, and he's so loyal to them that, at least as a fan or a guy that I've covered them for a long time now, it's hard to believe it will change.
You know how they get out of it. They get out of it the same way that the Heat way back when got out of it, the same way the Panthers after a quarter century of being a joke of a franchise got out of it. And that is, they get that one guy, that Pat Riley, that Bill Zito, that guy who's going to come in and transform the franchise with his vision and thinking big and upgrading the roster and the culture and the coaching and everything. And that's the magical guy any winning franchise has. And everything changes. You can trace every championship team typically back to one guy walking through the door, and it's typically the personnel guy, the general manager, or something like that. Or with the Dolphins way back, they had all the talent there. They had it there, and Don Shula walked through the door. But typically, it's one guy who all of a sudden it all transforms, and who that guy is, I have no idea. But that's who they got to find.
Well, everybody else is looking for that guy too. But I guess where I sort of lose it with where the Dolphins are at from an approach standpoint is when Stephen Ross, after they completed their illustrious 8-9 season of a year ago, in a year where they were all in, and were supposed to be really good, comes into the locker room after the last game, and you're thinking he's going to give some scalding and scathing indictment against the way that people perform, and he says, "Hey, let's run it back."
Yeah, that was scary.
He's shocked. I mean, it was such a bitter.
There's my question for the Dolphins. We talk all the time. We got the media. We're all over the leadership. Where are the players? Where's the leadership for the players? They lost Calais Campbell and Tron Armstead. They have no leaders. But really, the big picture is, where are the leaders above them? Where, is Mike McDaniel a leader? Is Chris Greer a leader? Stephen Ross the leader? And can Stephen Ross recognize what leadership is by the NFL standards? He hired Joe Philbin because, as he said, he was very organized. Look, organization is great. It's great. But if that's the number one thing you're looking for, it's a bizarre thing to
yeah, he's not a
single gum wrapper on the field at any time.
And as Lubie said, look, you can, the hirings he's had he's been at it since 2009.
Yeah, it's been a while.
And point to one hiring that you say, wow, that's really inspiring. There hasn't been one.
Is it time to change our opinion of Mike McDaniel? We all loved him when he first came in.
I still love Mike McDaniel. How can you not love Mike McDaniel? Seriously, his personality, his what he's overcome in his life. I love Mike McDaniel. Now, do you love him as head coach is the question.
Yeah.
So really, is everybody on the Dolphins promoted to one level above what they should be?
Yes.
Mike McDaniel is offensive coordinator. That's great. Chris Greer is a scout.
Yes.
You can live with that.
Yes.
So that's really the question to me is roles and positions and talents for the position they're in more than anything else. And Mike will get another chance this year to show. But here we are in year 4. All of a sudden, culture matters. Well, 3 years of learning on the job isn't the way you look at the NFL.
Yeah. All right. I would imagine you were like us. I don't know how many years I did it, but was out doing some kind of live broadcast on the opening day of training camp. You would get there at 5:30. Hope the electricity was working. They had those big fans going. Mosquitoes were infesting the area. You were gargling with malathion. By the time the sun came up, it was 150 degrees in the shade. Now, how much do you look forward to that day, Dave Hyde? Get out there and get some quotes.
Wow, when you paint it like that, that's the day to look forward to.
Just hoping somebody pours a bucket of ice over your head about midway through the show and doesn't ruin the equipment.
Yeah, I don't really look. The whole NFL off season is difficult because from a writing and talking standpoint, in that other than trades, and the Dolphins have had that, there's not a lot that really happens. And my thought was May and June, just leave them, just let them be. So the Panthers helped that. I didn't have to go right about that. But look, I look forward to the first day, the first opening of training camp. But then it settles into a rhythm where not a whole lot's happening, and so I look forward more to opening day, where you get some answers of the stuff they've been doing. You don't really get a lot of answers in training camp.
We were talking about that yesterday.
So we'll see.
I mean, as a kid, it was fun for me to go, but when you cover it, like, especially most of the time, the stuff you talk about in camp never, like, I remember the Ryan Tannehill deep ball to Mike Wallace that was supposed to save the thing. I don't know if they ever connected at all. Like that entire year.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Sometimes you do get little glimpses of it. There were glimpses of, when last year, and with my great NFL scouting eye. No, I'm. It isn't like I can read what's actually going on, other than when a quarterback keeps missing passes, I kind of pick up on that. Throwing incompletions, and that's what you saw last year with the backup quarterbacks. That neither of them looked very good, and so little things, little obvious things that you pick up on, but the nuances that separate good and great oftentimes don't come out till games.
So before we go, the 70s was marked by the Dolphins' greatness. It went into the 80s, the 90s, into 2000s, into the 2010s, because they've been to two finals. It was the Miami Heat. The Panthers seem to now be carrying that banner for South Florida. The Heat are trying to stay relevant and trying to, it seemed they understand they have to go young, but they're never going to tank. And they sort of show that this offseason by not giving the farm for Kevin Durant, but pretty much giving up nothing for a borderline all-star caliber player, Norman Powell. Where are you with the Heat? It seems like people keep talking about the East being wide open, but no one really feels the Heat are one of those people that have a chance to make it less wide open. After the Norman Powell move, after not getting Kevin Durant, where are you with the Heat in this offseason?
You know what? I'm giving the Heat time. They got blindsided and sabotaged by Jimmy Butler last season, and they came out of that trade decent, yes. Where, you look at Jalen Ramsey, everybody's, they had no shot of winning. They just had to dump him. Why? If he's a good cornerback, and that's sort of what the Heat did with Jimmy Butler. Similar situation to Jalen Ramsey. They didn't crush the trade, but they got some nice pieces out of it. And the Heat have shown through the years, when there's a big trade, a big swing to be taken, they'll take it. They're not afraid of that. They didn't see a big swing this offseason. And I don't blame them for Kevin Durant. I mean, he would have been nice here and there's sort of a void in the NBA Eastern Conference that they could have stepped into with him. But look, were they going to be able to outbid Houston? Probably not for him. So, I give the Heat. They're collecting pieces right now, and everybody knows. Look, they needed that number one guy. They probably have a number two, a number three, or number 2.5 and 3.5. Yep. I give them benefit of the doubt and some time. It's not like they got nothing out of the Jimmy Butler years. They went to 2 NBA finals and a third Eastern Conference finals. And if now they need a year or two to collect themselves and straighten things out on the salary cap and the roster, I'm going to give them that time.
Sounds like we know we're going to be Yeah, we've got some stuff for you for the Sun Sentinel. So that's back into that thinking mode, and I'm looking forward to that. That was a great piece of analysis there. That the Dolphins seem to put everybody one job above where they actually.
That's true. It is true.
Peter
That's
Principle,
really how it feels.
beautifully stated. There. Hey, we love you, man. Thanks so much. I hope you enjoyed the vacation. Good to have you back at work. We look forward to all your stuff in the Sun Sentinel, and always look forward to having you on the show. It was great having you on today. Appreciate you coming in. Thanks.
See you, Louie.
Thanks, Hyde.
All right, Dave Hyde, ladies and gentlemen. Well, he rose to the occasion. What was he talking about, Lubie? He said, well, I don't know what I got for you. Remember, he started off humbly, typical humility that he has about his work. And then whatever we threw at him, it didn't even matter if it was a question. He came back with something strong. I guess that you need on a day like this where we're going and heading towards what would normally be, back in the past, Black Wednesday. That was an Eddie Kaplan thing. He was all over that. My good buddy Eddie Kaplan, of course, was always oriented towards degenerate gambling talk. And he said this is the day that gamblers dread the most. It's not the case anymore. Is there full slate? Yeah, you have to look and see if there's full slate of WNBA games. Didn't they have all teams playing? It was like
used to always go insane. There's only 2 games today.
I'm talking about tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow. Oh, yep. 1, 2.
How many games they have? They must have like 12.
5. I see 5 games, and they start as early as 12.
12 o'clock. They start right away, man.
Yep, that's what it is. Space it out. 12, 1, 3, 7:30, 8.
Like it's Christmas Day for them, Black Wednesday. It's amazing. They've adopted a holiday that used to be only known to degenerates. And was a day where everybody would get the shakes. You would literally have to be calling in phony prescriptions for Xanax to get through the day. And then take somebody, send somebody in there and they'll pick it up for you just in case they caught on. All right. Thanks, Lubie. Always a pleasure. We'll see you later on. And people, thanks so much for tuning in. Always appreciate the comments on the chat line. Enjoy the All-Star game. We'll be back with you again tomorrow. Tony Segreto will go old school with us. For Mike Lubie Lubitz, I'm Jeff DeForest. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. And we'll see you tomorrow as we leave you know that.
The time.
It's 9:06.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to